Hey guys, we have all been waiting for this and it finally happened. Sharon's kit dropped and we have the translation for it right here. We're gonna go over everything, his insight, his incantations, his ultimate, and so on and so forth. Spoiler alert, he's gonna be the support character for the Dynamo archetype team. And he's insane, okay? So, let's go over his insight first. Insight number 1 says, you gain amplified surge. That means that this electric field that Dynamo is all about consumes extra Dynamo to instantly upgrade to level 3. Already insane. And then you grant your ally in front simplified ritual, which means that his ultimate will not cost any AP. And while you are in this electric field on level 3, your penetration rate increases. Okay. Then yeah, if you're not under this field, you will create it yourself, right? Every Dynamo character does that. And access team-wide Moxie grants yourself stacks of Shockwave. You also gain Shockwave when an ally or enemy leaves the field. So when someone dies, upon accumulating a certain number of Shockwave stacks, you gain Tremble. What is Tremble? That increases your penetration rate even further. Now, insight number 3 says, when any enemy enters the field, you inflict Thanatophobia on him. That's a debuff that says, when attacked, if HP falls below a certain percentage, Sharon deals a very high amount of Genesis damage to the target and reduces his critical defense. And the damage that this enemy will take in general will also increase. So if your opponent, what that means is, if your opponents fall below a certain amount of percentage, they either die immediately or very shortly after. Then, when entering battle, you gain Dynamo, you gain Shockwave, and increases your own Moxie. Gains additional Moxie for each other Spirit or Intellect ally. Every single character in the Dynamo team is in fact from the intellect. Like Lucy is intellect, Ulrich is intellect, and Sharon himself is spirit. The only one that is not from the intellect or spirit afflatus is Ezra, but doesn't really matter. So this is incredible. Again, the main part to take away here is that this electric surging field is immediately level 3 just like that. That is already ridiculous, because yeah, you consume more Dynamo than you usually would, which levels this field up instantly. And then yeah, so you enter the battle and this electric surging field will be immediately on level 3, and your team will still funnel Dynamos into this field, and that means that this Dynamo overflows, and for every Dynamo that is overflowed, you grant yourself stacks of Shockwave. Once you accumulated a certain amount of Shockwave stacks, you gain Tremble. Okay, keep that in mind. So by default, without you doing anything, you will have a huge amount of Shockwave stacks and a huge amount of Tremble stacks. His incantation number 1 says it's a mass attack. It deals mental damage to all enemies, and you grant yourself Shockwave, and you inflict Thanatophobia once again, right? That means when an enemy falls under a certain amount of percentage of HP, you either kill him directly, or since you reduce his critical defense and increase the damage that he takes, he will die very, very soon after that. Kind of a little bit as an execute, you might say. You don't have to kill an enemy right away, like fully, but just a certain amount of percentage HP. How much this HP will be, we don't know. Will it be 10%? Will it be 20%? We will have to wait and see. But no matter what the number actually will be, this is very, very good. Then his incantation number 2 says it's a mass buff. You grant yourself Shockwave and you grant all allies the repose status. That means their crit rate is increased. And when you have enough stacks of Tremble, which you will always have, then excess crit rate is converted to crit damage. Now onto his ultimate. That is a channel, and you destroy all incantation number 1 and all of your incantation number 2 that you have in your spell dock, and you grant yourself shockwaves depending on how many incantations you destroyed that way, and you enter a status called Shadows of the Past. That means that at the end of each round you consume shockwaves stacks to trigger Day of Regret. Day of Regret is a mass attack that deals damage to all enemies, mental damage. So that is already very, very interesting. Let me double check real quick. It's mental damage that way. And I think, yeah, he deals Genesis damage. So very, very interesting is that he deals 2 different amounts, 2 different types of damage. He deals Genesis damage and mental damage. If I'm not mistaken, that is something unique to him. I think no other character in this game actually does that. So that is something very cool here to notice. But back to it. So Day of Regret, which you, once you channel your ultimate, then you consume shockwaves and you trigger this mass attack at the end of every single round. That deals mental damage to all enemies, and this attack is affected by ultimate might and is further enhanced based on the number of tremble stacks, which you will have a lot of tremble stacks, always guaranteed. You grant yourself Dynamo. That is very, very cool, because once you unlock the ultimate, so how this will go, let me explain this real quick. You start the battle off with this electric searching field on level 3. You will let this electric searching field level 3 run out to cast a mass attack. Then you use your ultimate to immediately, since you gain yourself some dynamos, level up, and yeah, your allies will also have dynamos ready to level this field up back again to level 3 once you use his ultimate. So point is, you will have constantly the electric searching field on level 3, which is a dream come true for the Dynamo archetype team. And based on the number of shockwave stacks, you grant yourself as many Dynamo stacks as you have shockwave stacks, which you will have a shit ton of. So that means, yeah, you will funnel this Dynamo back into the electric field, and it is level 3 again, what I just explained. And it extends the duration of Thanaphobia on all enemies, and it does the same for Repose. And it increases your self-moxie. Absolutely crazy. And yeah, that's about him. That was all. That was his insight. That were his incantation number 2 and number 3. And yeah, I think I explained everything. Since you extend the duration on Thanaphobia, quick reminder that is the debuff that whenever your enemies fall below a certain amount of HP, they either die immediately because they take a whole bunch of Genesis damage, or they will die shortly after because their critical defense is reduced and they take increased damage out of all sources. And yeah, that's it for the moment, guys. We will talk about this character more in one of my next videos, probably very, very soon. And yeah, all you have to know, you know what his incantation and what his ultimate does, you know what archetype he belongs to, you know that he is insanely good. You could like really argue that if you want to be future proof with your Dynamo archetype team, this is actually a must pull character. Honestly, he's that insane. He's like literally, as I said, he is a dream come true. He's self-sustainable. He doesn't take up much HP, but he can take up AP because you will gain additional stacks of shockwaves, you will gain increased amount of crit rate, you apply this to your team, yeah, and so on and so forth. And then his ultimate consumes all his incantation number 1 and number 2s too, so you can use your incantation number 2 and 1, but you don't really have to, because you can also wait until you unlock your ultimate, and then your ultimate will go even more crazy. You constantly have the searching field on level 3, like actually ridiculous. This is a very, very, very good character, and that's about it for this video for now though, guys. So if you like Reverse 1999 content in general, please consider leaving a follow on my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until next time, take care of yourselves, have a great day, join the Discord server, and we love this game.